here's an intro for you, and I don't know, the preview is pretty good. It shows you what's going on for right now. Still working through some metal conditioning, but I'm past that now, I hope, unless I run into something else. You know, I wish I would have had a vision a little bit sooner, and I could have tackled a lot of things at once. But it's kind of like one of those things that's like I had said in a previous video, maybe every change that you make leads to 2 or 3 other changes. So at first you're just focused on, I want to change the cabinet. So you change the cabinet, and then you say, well, okay, I want to change the wiring. So you change the wiring. Then you say, okay, well, I want to change, you know, some of the parts that are going to attach to the Playfield, and you do that. And then you say, oh, well, since I changed those, I really need to change these. And then, you know, I mean, what you see is what you get. Whatever's going on here is just the reality of the situation. So I set out just to, the person that owns it sent it to me, and it's like, yeah, I'd really like you to do something unique. I've had like 3 or 4 people ask me to do that with Indiana Jones, and this was the first time I really could get it to come together. I'd been working on the background. I messed around with my cabinet builder for a while and tried to see if I could get like the Disney thing going, and he could kind of do it, but the reason, and people bring this up all the time, oh, you know, you should do the Disney version, or I saw somebody even say, oh, it needs the Disney legs, and I don't disagree with you, like that would look good, but it's too many moving parts. The thing about the Disney version of the game is that's set up by the prop makers at Disney in the gift shop, I think is where it's at. And so you have a team of guys that makes all these little parts, and they attach those parts, and it's an on-site type of thing. Me, I've got to be able to, at some point, fold this game up and hand it off to somebody, and they need to be able to set it up for themselves. Whether that be that I ship it, or even if they pick it up in person. And I don't want to have the whole premise of this thing that I built be wrapped around that they need to put this piece of wood on here and put this piece of wood on there, and once you set it up, put this over here and take this on there. I can't do that. That's not reasonable. So what I set out to do is build something that is on that, maybe kind of in that realm, but without all the moving parts and pieces, without all the downside of that. It's universal. When this thing's done, it's going to be factory-like in the sense that it could be folded up and moved around like any other pen. It doesn't have a million instructions and moving parts to it. And I think that's what a lot of times people don't understand when they see you do something. It's like, my task and my scenarios are much larger than just what you see here. All right, so I'm working through it. You're watching me work through it, but it is painful. And let's continue. All right, I'm gonna finish taking this thing apart, getting all the metal off of it. I gotta deal with all the coil brackets and stuff. A lot of these videos, sometimes the little clips are out of order, so you might see some parts on there that I've already reconditioned, but you know, I try to put it together in the best way I can here. So once I get all this stuff off, I'll break it down and we'll see what we do with it. One thing that is really apparent to me as I tear it down is just how bad the metal condition is. Kind of, I don't know, it's hard to put into words. You could look at stuff, a lot of times people think if it's just not absolutely covered with rust, it's not that bad, but sometimes just a lot of minor corrosion is just as bad as a whole lot of rust, because the need and the outcome is basically the same. All right, we'll finish getting this Playfield out of here and we'll go from there. All right, I got the old cabinet out of my way, and now I can start tearing down all these coil brackets and all these mechs. I've got a lot of these spares, so you know, you might see more than one set sitting there. I'm just basically harvesting metal. That's what I'm doing. I need these metal brackets and parts, so I just harvest those and figure out what I'll do with them from there. So we'll see what that means in just a few. All right, here's the next batch of stuff I got to deal with. And I think this is going to pretty much head me towards the finish line. So I've got all these coil brackets and stuff I want to deal with. These are in pretty rough shape. Like here's a pretty good example of the metal condition. And I think there's some that are even worse than that, if you can believe it, like this right here. So this is an everyday bracket. I've got drawers full of these. I've got them in nice shape. I could just build a brand new set of mechs for all this stuff, or a nice looking set of mechs for all this stuff, quick and easy right now, and just move on. But there's a certain look that I want these to have, just to carry through the whole theme of what I'm trying to do. I mean, it is a bit of an art piece, there's no question about that, and I don't want certain things to ruin that. So what I would like these to look like, the best description I can give you is I want them to look kind of military-like. You know, I don't want them to be too flashy or anything like that. I just want them to have a nice military-like look about them. And so I'm going to blast this stuff and metal etch it. Once I blast it and metal etch it, I'll determine if I need to matte clear over that or if it's good like it is. That'll hold up perfectly fine. I'll go over it in just a second. There are some things that I need to be conscious of when I do it, and I don't have to be, but I just will be. But I'm only going to do probably the everything, but like I'll probably tape off the cores of the coil stops and brackets. I'll tape off the pins and the pivots of the drop target mech, things like that. And like I said, all this stuff, stowaway stuff, I've got extras. I could build all new ones, so it's not a big gamble for me to do this. I think it needs to be done in order to carry the theme all the way through the job. So you can watch me do that. I'll explain some of it along the way, or when I need to, I feel like. All right, I'm gonna etch everything. I'm gonna have to etch one side of it and then flip it over and etch the other side of it. Then I'm gonna need to anchor everything down, tape everything up. You would not be able to appreciate what it takes to lay all this shit out and get it properly covered in one swipe unless you tried to do it. But that's what needs to be done. Ultimately, I want to have it in its natural position like it would be when it's on the playfield. That way I know I'm going to get it cosmetically looking the best it can look after I do the most necessary thing, which you're watching me do now, which is restore its corrosion resistance and also give it the adhesion it's going to need. All right, I'm taping up all the cores for the coil brackets. That's important, I guess, just because if it has metal etch primer on it, that's fine. That's paper thin. That's not going to really keep it from functioning improperly. But if you start really putting a lot of base coat and clear coat or powder coat or plating or any kind of finish on there, you're going to maybe make it too wide for the coil sleeve to fit over, or either interrupt its magnetic properties to a point where it's just not functioning like it should. Now I'm screwing everything down. This is, man, this is painful. And then after that, I just have to real quickly dust everything with metal etch one more time because, you know, it might get scuffed while I'm trying to anchor it down. Here comes the base coat. This is an effect color where you have to put one color on top of another color in order for it to have the right effect. So in this case, this is a really vibrant gold, and as crazy as that sounds, you need black underneath of it to pull the look off. If you put a light color under there, it's going to look more champagne. If you put a dark color like black under it, it's going to have more of that golden look, that Egyptian golden look. Now I'm matte clearing it just like that. Now that, again, I'm gonna say this is hard to appreciate, but painting all that stuff, it's not like you're just painting down the side of a cabinet or a hood of a car or something. There's a lot of angles to hit. There's a lot of different directions to go, and if you're not careful, you're gonna have runs and everything, or dry spray, and you know, there's definitely an art to this that can be hard to convey just watching it, but here it is. All right, there it is. They're painted, they're cleared, and they look good, man. I'm happy with that choice. I'll definitely want to be careful in the next few days while I'm assembling this stuff, because it'll be more fragile. It's not that it is a fragile finish, but it's a fresh finish. So now you're wrenching around on a bunch of metal parts with more metal parts as you assemble it, and it stands to good reason that you got to be a little bit more careful than if it was just some stuff you pulled out of a drawer, or, you know, off the bottom of a game that's been there for years. So I'll be mindful of that, but got full confidence in this, especially in the coming weeks as everything really starts to cure and harden. But I'm kind of faced right now, I have realized, with making this thing an art piece inside and out, and so that's what you're gonna watch me do. I'll do it for better or worse. That's what's gonna happen. All right, got my coil brackets drying in the other room. I'll let them set for a day or two. I'll go ahead and start dealing with the Playfield. I'm gonna sand this and polish it. You'll notice I always sand from two different directions, and that's because we all naturally move a certain way, and by spinning my movement 180 degrees, then I counteract whatever my previous movement was, and that helps me really get things nice and level and flat. Blow it off, and then I'm going to be ready to hit it with the polisher. I don't put a crazy amount of effort into polishing Playfields anymore. When I first started doing this, I would break out 100 different compounds and pads and do all this shit, and I quickly learned that these are not show cars. What they are their pinball Playfields that are going to have a ball rolling across them real soon. So I want to get them looking really good. You'll see that. You won't be ashamed of them at all, but you know, you're just wasting time is what I want you to really know about that process. You're going to put it to use. You're going to hang it on the wall, go all out. You're going to never play it, go all out. But if you're going to put it to use, don't waste your time. Just make sure you got a really good shine, a really good gloss level on there, and you got all your sand scratches out, and you're good to go, because whatever you just buffed out of it, you're going to be putting right back in it when you start to use it. But that's not to say that it's a lost cause. I mean, we need these clear coats and these finishes to give some durability to these things, or else they'd be falling apart a lot sooner. Or a lot of times you're also restoring things that have already fallen apart. So that's the deal there. But anyway, I'll get this thing buffed and we'll take a look at it. All right, there it is, sanded and polished. Looks really good. I mean, I don't want to diminish, like, oh, I'm not doing that much to it. I mean, it's probably a lot of effort to most people, but to me, compared to like a cabinet, it's just not. You don't have to put the effort into a Playfield. It's easy work. All right, so here we go. Let's put it together. All right, there's the underside of the Playfield. I stained that and I sealed it with like a hardwood floor type finish. I didn't want to use anything solvent based because it might run on an insert or something like that. But I did that, and I branded it before I did it, and now it's T-nutted. All right, there's the Playfield rails. I stained and cleared those somewhere along the way. Those are brand new oak rails that my buddy Taylor over at Reese Rails made me, and you know, they look as good as the cabinet. They're a little bit more grainy because it's just an open grain, and I didn't like really try to get rid of the grain. But man, for some Playfield rails, those look really good. Super happy with those. I think it's minor detail stuff like this is going to really pull the whole thing together when it's all said and done. So I'll put those on, and then we'll see what's next. All right, making some progress here. I've got my blacked out post in place. Didn't have any problems with those. The way I set those is I put a screw in the top, and then I use the screw to basically drive the post in there. That way I'm not hammering on them. And they're not fragile, but beating on shit with a hammer is beating on shit with a hammer. I don't care what it is, so I want to avoid that. And all that looks good. Jet bumpers are in place. The rails are in place. I'm about to start placing the ball guides. I've cut Mylar strips. These are 3/4 of an inch wide, and as long as I can make them on my 12 by 12 silhouette, I'll just use those. I'll have to lay them out there. And I got a pretty easy process here. You can't really make out the ball guide or the ball trail anymore on these. I think if you looked really hard, you could probably pick up on it a little bit. It's hard to see it, but there's like a little bit of it right there. So I'm gonna let that guide me on how to line these ball guides in Mylar. And what my plan is just to place Mylar strips as nice and neatly as I can all the way around the perimeter. Every single place that the ball's gonna ride the ball guide, I want there to be Mylar on that section. I don't have any concerns about this thing degrading in any kind of way, but I do have a concern about it wearing a ball trail through here, because unlike when we do it like clear coating wood's soft underneath, so it's a little bit more forgiving. This is going to be hard underneath, so it's going to be less forgiving. So I'll put that added protection in place just to ensure that this thing's going to last from here on out, and somebody's not going to have to revisit it at any time. So that's what I'll do. I'm going to use this solution. I don't ever go through this over this because I don't do a lot of wet method applications, but if I were, this is what I use. This is a window cleaner. It's green, and it's made for, it comes in gallon sizes, and it's made by ZEP, so ZEP, and it's made for like tinted windows. It's ammonia free, and what you see here is a little bit of that in here with probably a half a bottle of rubbing alcohol, probably 70 or 90% rubbing alcohol, and the rest of it's water. And what this makes is a very good solution. It's kind of like a homemade rapid tack, and I can make it on demand if I. All right, so I'm just laying out that Mylar. I'm pressing everything out with a plastic razor blade. That's pretty much the best squeegee I've found for a ball guide application. And then you'll see me trim it up a little bit where maybe the ball guide's kind of unique. It splits, and it needs, even a 3/4 inch strip's going to be too big for it. So I'm working on that, and that's pretty much it. Okay, there it is. Got all the ball guides in place, all the posts are in there, and I'm just about ready to flip it over and start to wire it. And this is just more of a confirmation, but everything's as protected as I can protect it. So I feel good about it moving forward, and it's looking good, man. I'm going to be really curious to see what this thing looks like all put together. All right, I'm replacing all the switches with the Data East style switch. I just like the retainer for that. I want to get rid of as much of that bare metal as I can, just for the look. But above and beyond that, I like the hoop style switch quite a bit better on games that have those orbit shots like IJ. You got 4 orbit or loop switches, and it's real easy for those to get missed even when they're well adjusted if you're using the triangle style original switch, particularly if it's riding the ball guide heavily. So that's what that's about, and we'll see how far we get. All right, I'm putting all new targets on here. I like the orange targets for IJ better than the red, and so that's what I'm doing there, just all new targets. And all new targets, all new switches, and that's pretty much going to be your kind of like your central nervous system, as far as the Playfield goes. That's going to be what's telling everything what to do or what you did. All right, I quit even recording myself. I was doing this, and I was like, dude, you're going to be in a fucking straitjacket, but here it is. So I dyed all the Molex connectors brown. I used all brown wire to wire everything with trace colors, and obviously I put all that wrap on there, and I'm just getting started. All right, there you go. That's about as far as we're gonna go until this thing's finished. I don't want to show any more of it because I don't want to ruin the reveal and what it looks like as it comes together. And truth be told, I don't know myself what it's gonna look like when it comes together. I might look at it and be like, oh, that was a bad idea, but I don't think so. If I really thought that was the case, I would already be reversing course or changing things or whatever. And I haven't seen anything yet that's changing the direction I'm going in. As a matter of fact, I've added wrinkles to it, and oh man, I mean, this is madness. I'd said in the video somewhere along the way that I'm gonna wind up in a straitjacket. This happens to me when I was building this building that you see me in now. I mean, that's been like, I don't know, 14, I think about 14 years ago when I was building this building. I took the vacuum cleaner apart and painted the pieces of it so it would match the room. I mean, that's how fucking crazy that got. So I got OCD real bad. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm not trying to do anything other than capitalize on it. That's what I'm trying to do because it's gonna be there. So if I can find a good use for it, then it's good. And if I don't find a good use for it, then obviously it can be kind of detrimental. But this isn't some fucking self-diagnosis. This is a fact. This is a clinical diagnosis of mine. So I've got it for sure. And I try to make good use of it. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Obviously, I relied heavily on the voiceovers on this. It just made the most sense for me. I got so much footage. I'm in so many different rooms with this thing. Like usually what happens is I got one thing I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna paint the cabinet. I can handle that. Okay, I'm gonna clear the playfield, do the playfield. Okay, I can handle that. Okay, I'm gonna build the thing. This isn't working out like that. This is, oh, I'm starting to build the playfield. Oh, let me run up here and paint these brackets. Let me do this, let me do that. And it's just, it makes for when I look at the stuff like on my phone that I make the videos out of, even I can't fucking figure it out. I look at them like, okay, let me just start putting this on there and I'll just talk about it, okay? So anyway, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. It's important. If you don't like the video, nobody's making you watch it. Nobody really cares. And I'll see you in the next one.